So we're going to be writing about the factory reopening. If you listen to chapters 4 and 5 that is available on the link above on our YouTube channel, you will hear all about how Mr. Willy Wonka revealed to the world he had hidden 5 golden tickets in his chocolate bars. This week we'll be discussing how to write a diary as Charlie. What would his thoughts be on first hearing about this opportunity to go inside the famous chocolate factory? What would be the things that he would be excited about? What are the things that perhaps he's feeling nervous about or sad about? Hot seating. Hot seating is an activity that the children have done many times before to take on the point of view of a character in the story. This week we're going to be taking on Charlie's point of view. In this activity, one person takes on the role of a character from the story or history, and using their knowledge they answer questions as that character. The other person taking part is the reporter or the question asker. Now, you don't have to stay in those roles, you can swap roles. So after one person's been the character and the other's been the reporter, you can switch places and take it in turns. On the next slide are some example questions for you to use. However, you can ask Charlie any questions that you think would help to understand how Charlie feels about finding out that the factory is about to open. So here are the reporters from the newest film. What kind of things would they ask Charlie, and what are some of the example answers that you might reply with? So Charlie, what do you think about Wonka's competition? Oh, I'm so excited. I've walked past this factory all the time and the wonderful smells that come out. Getting a chance to go in would be amazing. Would you like a golden ticket, Charlie? Why would you like one? Do you believe you can win one? Do you think it's a fair competition for everyone? If you win, who would you take and why? So I've given you an example for the first question. Have a think about what would Charlie's answers be to the rest of them? How would they really show how Charlie's feeling about this? So planning your diary. After you've done your hot seating activity, you could make a brief plan about what Charlie thought to help you remember what to write about. And think carefully about how you would start it or end it, and try and put them in an order so while you're writing it's easier for you. Here is my plan. So to begin with, this is incredible news. Charlie would be ecstatic to hear that the factory is going to be reopening and Willy Wonka will finally be appearing. However, in that first sentence, we don't want to tell everything. We want the reader to want to read on to the next sentence. So we will simply start with the fact that it is incredible news. Then go on to the fact that the factory will open to golden ticket winners and explain that these tickets will be hidden in bars all across the world. The fact that Mr. Willy Wonka will be there is exciting because Grandpa Joe's told Charlie all about Mr. Willy Wonka, so he'll be excited to meet him. And then come on to the chocolates. He's walked past, smelt the smells from the factory all the time. Seeing those chocolates would be like a dream come true for him. And describing the smells of the chocolate when he walks past will help the reader to understand why it's so exciting for Charlie. And the chance to see how they are made. I think everyone, every child at least in the world, would love to go into a chocolate or a sweet factory and see how those inventions are created. So far we've got that hope, but now I want to put something in my plan to show despair, because diaries are all about showing how characters feel and we want those different emotions. So my last point, but how could I win? We're too poor. That despair. Okay, so what should I include in my work to make sure it is successful this week? First of all, begin with a sentence to sum up your day, to give an overall view. For example, today was, today I found out, you will not believe what, I found out today. You will always want to write your diary from the first person perspective, using words like I, my, me. Rhetorical questions. So we want to include questions that no one will actually answer out loud. Charlie certainly won't be answering them in his diary, but they will help the reader to feel what you feel, or what the character that is writing will feel. Here are some examples. Who will win? Could it possibly be me? How can I compete with all those rich families? And exclamations. So we know what exclamation marks are, but exclamations are very, very short pieces of writing that are used to show extreme emotions. Might be to show excitement, to show nerves, to show fear. Wow, just imagine. And the challenge this week is to use ellipsis to show a pause in Charlie's thoughts, or where his thoughts trail off. So here's an example sentence. All those chocolate bars. How could I possibly think it could be me? So the ellipsis is that trail of dots that shows the pause. And the ellipsis shows the writer is thinking. He's taking just a moment to think about what he's saying. And the ellipsis is a pause for the reader to think about it too, because if the reader can feel what the writer's thinking, they're more likely to be engaged in it. Read the sentence again, and this time think about all those chocolate bars that he is imagining. There are millions that you could buy in shops all across the world. It will help you to understand why Charlie doesn't believe he could win. And if you can feel what he can feel, the writing is much more interesting. All those chocolate bars. How could I possibly think it could be me? Here is an example of a diary from Charlie's point of view. And on the left-hand side, you can see the criteria still, and I'll talk about what's been included and why. Dear Diary, when I arrived home today, feeling as hungry and tired as on any other day, I found out something I still can't quite believe. Mr. Willy Wonka is going to open his factory. He's hidden 5 golden tickets in Wonka bars that can be bought in any country on earth, and whoever finds them gets to visit the factory with Mr. Willy Wonka himself. All those delicious chocolates and incredible inventions. It's like all my dreams come true. All those times I've walked past the gates and been entranced by the sweet smells that called out for me to try them. I never once thought I'd ever get to see how they make them. Just imagine. But I guess I shouldn't. It will only hurt me in the long run. How could I ever win one of those precious golden tickets? Okay, so let's talk through a few of the features. That first sentence, that purple one, is the summing up. He's found out something and it's incredible. He can't quite believe it, but we don't want to tell everything because we want the reader to keep reading on. The red words, my, I've and me, they're the first person words that I talk about to make sure that we are writing as Charlie and not talking about him as if he's someone else. The green sentence at the end, that's the rhetorical question. How could I ever win one of those precious golden tickets? So after all the hope and the delight at the thought of going in, we're now delving into the despair that Charlie is quite poor, so how could he possibly win one? And the blue sentences. Mr. Willy Wonka is going to open his factory. Just imagine. These exclamations showing the excitement at this wonderful news. And the bold sentence in the middle with the challenge, the ellipsis. All those delicious chocolates and incredible inventions. It's like all my dreams come true. That place where all the dots are really gets the writer to show the reader he's really thinking about what it would be like to be in that factory. Those smells have really excited his imagination, and it gives the reader a chance to really think about how amazing it would be inside there. And that would definitely make me want to read on more. So I'll read it again. Really, when we get to the ellipsis, those dots, really think about what it would be like inside. All those delicious chocolates and incredible inventions. It's like all my dreams come true. Okay, I'm really looking forward to seeing all your diaries this week. have a good time doing the hot seating, and I look forward to seeing your work.